A humble engineer rescued a fallen soldier, unaware she was the galaxy's hidden empress. A human story from the stars. The Krell Dominion had ruled half the galaxy for 10,000 years. Their cities stretched across star systems like luminescent webs. Their fleets moved with the precision of a symphony, every vessel in perfect synchronization. The Krell themselves, tall, elegant beings of crystalline beauty, believed they represented the pinnacle of galactic evolution. Intelligence, refinement, order, everything a civilization should aspire to be. But empires, no matter how vast, are fragile things. It started on Meridian Station, a remote outpost on the edge of Krell space. A place so insignificant that the grand architects of the Dominion barely remembered it existed. The station hung in the cold grip of the Obsidian Sector, a region of dying stars and forgotten worlds. It was here that engineer Maya Chen worked. She wasn't special. Not by galactic standards. She was human. A species so young and disorganized that most civilizations didn't bother to send proper diplomats. Humans were, well, useful for labor, scrappy, reliable, cheap. They had no grand empires, no ancient technologies, no refined sensibilities. They simply worked. They built. They fixed things. And that's exactly what Maya had been doing on Meridian Station for the last 3 years. Maintaining the station's power systems. Repairing the life support modules, keeping the old, outdated facility running on shoestring budgets and salvaged parts. It was honest work. Lonely work, but honest. She never expected it to matter. The distress beacon reached Meridian Station at 0347 hours. Maya was awake anyway. She preferred the night shift, when the emergency alarm cut through the station's hum. Her screens flooded with telemetry data. An escape pod. Severely damaged, life signs present, but fading. Trajectory putting it directly into the asteroid field beyond the station's secondary bay. She moved on instinct. 3 years maintaining the station meant she knew every maintenance shaft, every external access point, every way to reach places that weren't officially listed on the blueprints. She was suited up and moving in under 40 seconds. The pod was lodged between 2 massive asteroids, wedged in a canyon of ancient rock. Solar radiation poisoned the area. The station's shields didn't properly extend this far. Maya's suit activated its protective layers, and she began the delicate work of extraction. Inside the pod there was a figure, but not the figure Maya expected. The soldier, because that's what the insignia suggested, some kind of military rank, was Krell. The crystalline structure of her body gleamed even in the dim light, faceted like an enormous jewel. But she was broken. Fractures ran through her form like frozen lightning. Her breathing was shallow. Her eyes, if they could be called that, barely flickered with awareness. A Krell. On a human-operated station. In civilian territory. Under normal circumstances, this would have been immediately reported to the Krell authorities. Protocol demanded it. But Maya wasn't thinking about protocol as she carefully, oh so carefully, pulled the wounded Krell from the pod. She was thinking about how shallow the soldier's breathing had become, how the damage looked catastrophic, how the life signs monitor was dropping with each passing second. "Come on," Maya whispered, even though the Krell couldn't hear her. "Come on, stay with me." She hauled the unconscious soldier back to the station, using every trick she'd learned about moving delicate materials without additional stress. The medbay wasn't equipped for Krell physiology, human medicine and alien biology rarely translated, but Maya knew its systems intimately. She improvised. She jury-rigged diagnostics. She programmed the automated systems to interpret Krell molecular structures as best as human science could. And then she sat with the fallen soldier. For hours, Maya remained by her side, monitoring systems, adjusting treatments, making minute changes to the environmental controls. The station was quiet around them. No one knew she was there. No one knew she'd rescued the Krell. No one knew that engineer Maya Chen, a 28-year-old human woman with calloused hands and tired eyes, was committing an act that could be classified as sheltering an undisclosed Krell military asset. She should have reported it immediately. Everyone would have said so. Every protocol, every regulation, Every voice of reason would have demanded immediate notification. But when Maya looked at the fractured, dying form before her, she didn't see a threat. She didn't see an alien invader or a propaganda opportunity or a diplomatic incident waiting to happen. She saw someone who needed help. And that made all the difference. For days later, the Krell opened her eyes. Her name, when she finally spoke, was Empress Vexthalira of House Meridian, executor of the Krell Dominion, keeper of the Eternal Throne. She had been traveling in disguise, hidden even from her own people, on a covert mission to the outer territories. Her ship had been sabotaged, her guards slaughtered, and she had barely escaped with her life. She had crashed on a backwater human station, tended by a species she had been taught to regard as primitive. And she had lived. Why? Vexthalira asked, her voice like crystal chiming. She was standing now, though her movements were still careful, still healing. Why did you not turn me in? Your own protocols would have granted you commendation, resources, status. Maya set down her tools. She'd been repairing the medbay's power distribution again, always something breaking on this old station, and looked at her, really looked at her. She saw the confusion in the Krell's expression, the fundamental inability to comprehend an action that had no immediate benefit to the actor. You were hurt, Maya said simply. You needed help. I am Krell. You are human. This hierarchy doesn't matter. Maya wiped her hands on her uniform. Not here. Not in my station. Here, you're just someone who was dying, and I could do something about that. Vexthalira's crystalline form seemed to shimmer, refracting light in new patterns. For a moment, she appeared almost fragile, like she was processing something her entire existence had never prepared her for. In the Krell worldview, all acts carried utility. All relationships had value and hierarchy. All exchanges had purpose. A human engineer sacrificing hours, resources, and risking her career for a stranger. A Krell stranger, no less, was not just illogical. It was incomprehensible. But as Vexthalira spent those next few days in recovery, she found herself drawn back to that incomprehensibility. She watched Maya work, watched how she treated the old station systems with reverence, coaxing extra life from equipment that should have been junked a decade ago. Watched how she spoke to the station's limited AI, not with commands but with requests, with courtesy, with what could only be called affection. Why do you care so much about this station? Vexthalira asked. It is old, inefficient, scheduled for decommission. Maya smiled. It's home, and everything deserves to be taken care of. The station, the machines, even the occasional falling from the sky. Krell Empress. She paused. You're still here, by the way. You don't have to keep calling yourself that. You can just stay. And for the first time in 10,000 years of recorded Krell history, their Empress remained. News eventually travels even to the edge of the galaxy. The investigation into the Empress's disappearance had sent ripples through the Dominion. But when Vexthalira finally revealed herself, on her terms when she was ready, it was not to demand answers or exact vengeance. It was to return to Meridian Station and officially rename it. Not after herself. Not after the Krell bloodline or the ancient traditions of the Dominion. She renamed it Chun Station, after the engineer who had saved her life. The galaxy watched in confusion as the executor of the Krell Dominion extended full planetary protection over a human settlement. As resources began flowing to the aging station, as she invited scholars, engineers, and thinkers from across the known universe to study what had happened here, they came to understand a profound truth. In the hearts of humans dwelt something the ancient civilizations had lost or never possessed. It was not cunning. It was not strength or intelligence or refined aesthetics. It was simpler than that. It was compassion. Pure, irrational, economically inefficient compassion. The ability to see suffering and act. Not for reward. Not for hierarchy or status. Not because it made logical sense. But simply because it was the right thing to do. Vexthalira stood with Maya on Meridian Station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. The station hummed around them, renewed and alive, no longer a relic but a beacon. Your species, the Empress said quietly, was underestimated. By everyone. By us most of all. Maya shrugged. We're just doing what humans do. Fixing things. Helping where we can. Nothing special. Perhaps, Vex the Lyra replied. That is precisely what makes it special. And for the first time the galaxy understood what it truly meant to be human. If this story of kindness reaching across the stars moved you, subscribe for more tales of humanity's quiet strength echoing through the cosmos. Because sometimes, the greatest power isn't measured in weapons or wealth. It's measured in the simple willingness to help those in need. Thank you for listening, and remember, in the darkness of space, it's often the smallest light that shines brightest.